I'm Chris Gardner of the Houston Round Ball Review. And joining me, taking time out of her busy schedule, is Coach Vernette Skeete, the head coach of Texas Southern Women's Basketball. How are you doing today?
Doing well. God is good. Doing well.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good. I was a little tired, under the weather a little bit last week. I kind of was down, but God is true to His word. I am here and I'm back and I'm rocking and rolling. I'm actually really in a place of like excitement and appreciation.
This is the first week of June. I think I you noticed on TSU's IG account.
Mhm.
Looks like you're welcoming in newcomers. This is move-in week, so just let me know about how that's going.
It's been going really well. It's been exciting. We've got a group of kids. We only have the new kids coming in. I decided this summer to bring them in on their own so the transition could be smoother, teach them the system, give them a chance to learn without all the, and so we brung a lot of the newcomer, all of the newcomers in, and it's been fun. It's really exciting to be in a place where these kids. From where they've been, what they're used to, what they've experienced, they understand the structure and they're appreciative of it.
Mhm.
Like, so they understand, what it means to have a shot fatigue chart and the value of it. And they appreciate, the nuances and that it can get you to the next level and everything that we built to try to provide a space for greatness. They're actually really excited about, and that's kind of new and it's fun. And so we as a staff here, we're just kind of rocking and rolling, just kind of embellishing it, like embracing it more or less. Um, just really where they've been fun so far.
How many new faces do you have on the roster?
I think the new faces count total is 7.
Seven. Okay, I only know about I think four. So
Yeah.
tell me about the seven. Enlighten me, please, Coach Skeet.
Um, where do I start? I mean, we've got a lot of good kids coming in. We have Michaela. We have Diavion. We have, which is a post player. Michaela is a kid that's coming in from Tuskegee. She's a grad transfer. She's a 6'1", 6'2" shooter. She's a wing player. She's a grad transfer, so we're excited with her coming in. Michaela Malik, and then we have Diavion Harris. She actually played for semester at Grambling. She's a JUCO product kid, big, strong, post game, gets up and down the floor, real agile with her feet, a lot of lateral quickness, basketball IQ, savvy, toughness. We have, who else? We do have a lot. We have Cortland.
Mhm.
Cortland is coming from North Texas. And so we're excited to have her. She's lefty. And, we actually did a good job of getting a lot of left-handed kids. I think we had 3 or 4 on the roster this year because of the way our offensive flows. Uh,
Okay.
so it's just actually proactive to have more lefties who are people who are naturally, kind of prone to using that left and can dribble. So she's coming in, and we're really excited about her. She's a guard, very aggressive, but three level scorer. Athletic, like tough. We also have who else am I missing? Uh, where's my list of kids at? I got so many. Right, Treasure Thompson.
Mhm.
Treasure, she started off at LSU, transferred over to Eastern Michigan. She's a forward. So she'll play in the fourth spot. 6'1", 6'2", athletic, good perimeter game. I'm attacking from the perimeter or developing the perimeter shot. But used to playing high end basketball from Illinois area. So she's used to playing an elite style of play. Had an ACL injury, so she's coming back from that.
Okay.
We're helping her kind of rehab from there and building that. We have Tiana Mathis, who's a blend JUCO kid who's coming in with just aggressive and transition athleticism, play a little bit of the point guard and 2-4-S combo. Um, we have a lefty point guard in Aaliyah. Aaliyah's coming from SMU. And so she'll be helping and contributing and giving a lot to the point guard spot, which obviously we struggled a lot in last year with our turnovers and things like that. So we're definitely excited to have her. We have Alasia Fauntleroy. She's coming from Ohio, University of Ohio, and she's also a JUCO kid too, but very athletic, 3-4 guard that can get up and down the floor, finish really well around the rim, little strength, bigger body, strong shoulders. And so we have a lot coming in that, has a little bit more experience. We don't have any freshmen this year,
Great.
which is actually like, because the last 2 years we've taken nothing but freshmen.
Right.
So we've been one of the youngest teams in the conference, and so this year coming into it, we don't have a freshman on the roster. So what we're going to see if we can combine some of our youth with some experience and some excitement and explosion, get a little bit more athletic, and hopefully we're good to go. So, yeah.
Was it intentional to not bring in any freshmen for this year's team?
After, honestly, just the fairness to our players, in a league that has shifted towards transfers and having more experience to play with, their IQ and their will was there, but their bodies and their duration wasn't. They still needed time to grow. So I thought it would be fair to them to get people who could assist with that versus the teaching, because we got pushed around as a program a lot my first 2 years. Where our actions were giving us a ton of shots. We're averaging 65 to 70, sometimes 80 shot attempts a game, but we're finishing games with 16 makes.
Mm-hmm.
Being 16, getting pushed out there, and the SWAC, 20 turnovers, or giving up 20 plus second chance points. And those things we were trying to really kind of give them help with as they got better, the core of the team. So hopefully it definitely was intentional, but, I don't think like I'm against training and teaching either. But I think that we needed some assistance in that to help our kids that, have been kind of pushed around for so long in the league.
Is that the biggest takeaway you've learned so far going into year 3 at TSU? Is probably getting even players who are stronger to compete in the SWAC?
I think, for where I come from, and the players that I've coached, I had to get more kids like-minded.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so, like, I like to coach pros.
Mhm.
I've been blessed to develop pros. I've been blessed to have, come up with the skill and a system and a way to teach and train. And you can't. It's like you got to make sure that people want that and not just like, oh, I just want to have fun and enjoy the band and to go to the parties. Like, I don't want to work that hard. And then you become into a situation as a good coach, you don't push past that, because then you're pulling. And that's when mental health and friction and all of that starts pouring in, where you're pulling people past what your expectation is.
Mhm.
So I had to get more kids who would kind of, well, I want another stop. I don't want this to be the end. I want a little bit more than a good hurrah every game or two. I want this to be a part of my life, and I want to continue to play for a little bit longer. So what other things from this space that I'm in can I be taught to have that? And that's really what we're around right now. And if we can keep that up, I think we'll be really successful. So I think it's a smoother transition for me as a coach to make sure. I think first year I didn't really have control of my roster, but as we progress, we've tried to get more towards that.
Of the newcomers or the entire team, do you see any future pros?
I think pro pro understanding for women's sports is very different, right? Because
Sure.
You know, in reality, we have Diana Taurasi, who's 41, who's still in the league. And then you could have a kid like Lex Morris, who's no longer in the league, who was active and had a college career, but she could have been a pro.
Right.
You know, so league dynamics pros, it's a different space. We don't have the work ethic yet. So I will not say we have, because a lot of people, as much as, you know, they got the whole Caitlin Clark and all of the debates of that's going on, a lot of people don't talk about the fortitude that a women's basketball player has to have. You know, the NCAA naturally gives kids at least 2 weeks off after their season is finished. But if you want to be a pro your senior year, you're literally going straight into training camp.
Right.
Preparation going up, and so you go straight into this training. You don't go to graduation, you don't finish all of these festivities, this break, the mental recap that you need to kind of reset it every year into a higher level of physicality, play, and demand. And if you've only been running like a basketball play and you don't understand basketball as a system, it's a huge toll on you. And so the goal will be, can this talent understand the work ethic that it takes to be a pro, and do they understand basketball as a totality? Because if you think about women's basketball on a pro level, there's not one pro who's been overseas that is retired from the same team they started as. So
Good
being a
point.
pro requires understanding of systems in basketball to agree that you can be moved around and you can continue to have usage. So I think we don't talk in reality about what a pro really means on the women's level. We just think, okay, well, you can run horns and you scored off of it. Okay, well, horns is not as effective when the floor is spread in a European league. You
Right.
know, like it. So, you know, I just, you know, I'm not gonna get all of that rent today, but you know, so when I say stuff, I try not to just be, you know, because something so elite as pro for women's sports, it's you know, which is why there's a lot of talented kids who, you know, can play 1 or 2 years and then they're done,
Mhm.
you know, because it's like, oh, I can't keep transitioning and changing and keep my body up. Because when you're looking at a pro, they've got to be able to go from their season all the way, which is finishing what, March, to training camp, because the WNBA or whatever that is the summer. And then most of the time play all the way through maybe Christmas again before they get their first real
Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
whose bodies
Hmm.
are being developed for that and who can sustain. And so that's and you might have been on 4 different teams before we talking about Christmas. You know,
Yep.
if you didn't make the pros, and then if you did make the pros, you still may be on 2 different teams by the time Christmas comes. You know, so I don't know completely if we have the stamina, but we're definitely going to give them those kind of teaching points, those kind of pushes. That's why, like, I'm completely appreciative of our administration. You know, like VP Kevin Granger. Like, we have our catapult system, our scientists, so we'll know in a little bit if they have, you know, the push and the stamina and endurance, you know, to kind of handle those things. But talent, you know, potential is what we'll say.
Coach, for your the newcomers, the players who came in, did they reach out to you and the staff, or did you and the staff see them in the portal and go after them? How did it work?
You know, a couple of the kids I have had a benefit of watching for a very long time at various places that I had. So I had some relationships with them, you know, like the Treasure Thompson. I mean, I was recruiting her when she was in the 7th grade when I was at Marquette, you know,
Hmm.
known her for a while. And so, you know, at the various different stops, we've kind of been able to meet, like Cortland, you know, she Vladimir, she played at the same spot Coach Brooks played or coached. I'm sorry, and so she was there. So it's more relationships, people we know, and some people we just reached out to in the portal for sure. Coach Elliott, you know, kind of getting down and finding these kids who are left and talking to them and finding their stories and watching the stats and just trying to see if we could build a plan for them. So it's been a little bit of a combination of both, you know, JUCO some, but you know, we've kind of shifted. JUCO world has gotten a lot harder because, again, obviously now with kids coming in and being able to play, you know, like people everybody want to go Power 5. And so we have become the new JUCOs.
Mhm.
they come they come to get our kids. So, you know. But yeah, but it's been a combination of a lot.
And speaking of that, you had players leave the program.
Hmm.
What were those some of those talks like? Was it mutual? Did the kids just up and leave and said nothing to the staff, or did you and the staff talk to them and say maybe it's best for you somewhere else?
I mean, we never push a person out per se unless they can't. The Tiger way is our way. I think it's the understanding mutually if this is for you, if it's safe for you, if the Houston is distracting to you, because when you talk about females in sports, we have the luxury of living in Houston. We also have the luxury of the distraction of Houston.
Hmm.
If you know what I mean. So for college students in Houston being such a middle class mecca, well, economically you can turn up every day, and it be not an issue. Uh, you have to find kids who are serious about their craft so they won't get misguided. And so sometimes being in places that are a little bit more smaller may be better, or you know this is the day and age where everybody feels like I could get more. I'm playing a little well. Maybe I could go higher. Maybe I can go somewhere that has an NIL deal. Maybe I can, maybe I can find a place that's, better for my game and my style of play. That's not press in the SWAC. So you have all of these different factors and options, and you have these parents and friends and coaches who may want more in other areas outside of the court, like financially and cost of attendance, that deals that we don't. They may have more than us in that, and they're gravitating to it, or they want to just put themselves out there to see if they could get it. And so there's a lot of different scenarios. There's no bad blood in between anybody that leaves, because obviously we always understand, and they say you make a hole, make another one. So like you keep growing. That's part of just the landscape these days, and so we benefit from it just as well. So you'd be remiss to be a coach that has an attitude about it. You know what I mean? Like we actually take kids from other programs who feel the same way. So I can't be mad if my kid decides to leave to search for greener pastures as well.
How long have you been a coach, assistant coach, head coach, everything?
Ooh, we might be getting close to 20 years at this point.
Really?
Yeah, I came
Hmm.
out straight out of high school. I mean, high school. I came out straight out of college, and I'm 40 now. So, I'll be 41 this year. So, I have been coaching since I was 22, 20, 23, 23. Been coaching since I was 23.
Has the job become more stressful?
No, like I'm a teacher, so it's different. Like I'm a teacher, so I love to be on the court and instruct and go and find ways to make and open up the understanding for a kid. It's just at different levels I've noticed, like prior, like it was so like it was interaction that was mutual, because there was, I see the light, I want the light, I want to go there. Different levels get different type of players whose mentalities may not be like, I don't need all of that, I don't want all of that, I'm just trying to get this school paid for, and da, 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 da. Like those things are different sometimes. But when it comes to like teaching is teaching. If you can teach, you can teach anybody. You know what I mean? If I'm an English teacher, like, yeah, the job may be hard with easier teaching English with somebody who has the base, but the phonics are the phonics. The prefixes are the prefixes. Like it's the same. You know what I mean? You just, so if you like teaching, you like teaching. It doesn't really matter the student. So
Are you close to finalizing your non-conference schedule?
we are finished.
Okay.
We actually, let me take that back. We have one game that had a change of staff, so we are trying to track down the new staff with that first per se, so that we can get that on contract. But for the most part, we are done.
So done that you could tell me some of the opponents right now?
not that done.
Oh, okay.
But we're getting really, really close to that. I mean, we have some local people here. You know, we got some SEC teams. We've got a lot of Texas teams. And, try to keep our travel down a little bit. So we've got we go out to California. So it'll be a great blend of teams. That we'll be playing, and hopefully we can get that out to you, and probably maybe like the middle of next week. It
Okay,
should
great.
be finalized. Make sure you get a copy of that.
What is your scheduling philosophy? Does it depend on how experienced your roster is for that particular season?
Hmm, I'm very competitive, so I have to be pulled off the ledge because there's not schedule that I don't expect to win. We really just, obviously, being an HBCU, it has to economically make
Sure.
sense for us, and I think that's a little bit of the driving force of who we play. But I think we've gotten in our administration and in our they've been really good at like what does it take for our team to get into conference confidently, and we're trying to make a blend of both games that we can play that are winnable or competitive. Like we want to be in the game
Mhm.
or we want to win it. And I think we try to schedule from that aspect as much as possible. It doesn't always turn out like that, but you obviously don't want to play anybody you don't have the scheme to win. So
Almost done with you, Coach Skeete. This, I think, two or three more questions.
mm.
Out of the non-conference, my last, try to dig more info out of you. Any home games on the non-conference schedule?
Yes, yeah, we have some home games. We try
Okay.
to make sure we're really um, the SWAC conference has changed its layout, so we'll be playing Thursday by ourselves, and then we'll
Oh,
doubleheader with men, and then the men will play Monday by themselves. So we wanted to make sure early on that we're getting a fan base ourselves,
mhm.
and trying to get some people, you know. Falling in love with our style of play and our players. So we try to get that early so that we don't only see people on Saturday. So if y'all out there, get here on Thursday too. We trying to reel y'all in.
So is that Thursdays just for non-conference or for SWAC play too?
Just SWAC play.
Oh, okay, excellent,
That's SWAC play. So we're using non-conference to build our community morale. So people.
excellent.
So we got to have some home games so people actually want to come see us.
All right, Coach Skeete, don't hate me for this,
It's
but
okay.
I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Kennedy Carter, Caitlin Clark, whatever, the foul, or the outside interest and comments that has generated?
I think I actually just posted about this a couple of days ago. Like, I think that people have got to get out of making it a racial thing, and this is a very complex answer. Um,
Okay.
I do think that they were coached to that was their target for her. It was a game plan for us. Well, she's slender, she's a rookie, like we're gonna be extremely physical.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking about a kid like players execute the game plan. There was a scout, that was the decision from the scouters and the coaches, and then they executed and who gets charged? Kid, right? The
Mm-hmm.
player. I should say. So I do think that was the game plan the whole game. It was consistent throughout. That was just the one play that we saw that was kind of like over the top. Um, I do get that the W, people say like it's physical and it's been physical. And I'm like, well, that's a little part of the problem. When you look at men's basketball and they're averaging 100 and 120 points and all of this stuff like that, it's a ticket seller. Women's basketball this year, and you can look at it. Go back and look at the stats because I know we got a lot of people who ain't never dribbled a basketball going to come in with different things and opinion. And I said, this is the problem. We've taken basketball, we've taken sports from the sports writer, and we put it on social media with regular people's opinions. It's on the shade room. So now it becomes a social issue versus sports understanding, and the sports people present the stats behind the thing. Women's basketball this year had tremendous amount of 100-point games, especially in the non-conference season.
Mhm.
They're putting up points. Caitlin Clark is shooting from a space where some of us couldn't dream. And with her body physique, the ability to shoot from that on a consistent with the accuracy is what was the highlight of the excitement. That's what brought us in. It doesn't matter what color or race or whatever
Right.
that's what we're talking about. This is an area that we hadn't seen, very similar to what Golden State Warriors were doing when they didn't have a traditional big.
Right.
Wait, you don't have a post, you're gonna play, and it's fun. Media trends happen. Very honest with you, because I said this happened with Skylar Diggins, and people won't remember this because she wasn't, but Skylar Diggins had the same coming out of Notre Dame, the same hype, the same, and she was also targeted and bullied, but
Correct. Yep.
her cousins didn't stand up for her like Clayton Clark's friends and fans are. And so there's a bigger outcry for the same thing. And Skylar not being a little tough, she may be out of the league right now. And so I think there are things that needs to change. I think we highlight certain players in the rough housing and all of that, and we're not teaching an elite level of like you can think and transition from different plays, that the game is being stalled. Like I might have come for Caitlin, but I stayed because Chennedy was balling. That has to be the mentality,
Right.
that we look like. Forget who brung it in. If it's a good product, I'm gonna stay for this. The outcry is, in reality, in a sports concept, this pushed the game further. This was a great style of ball. We want to see this. We want to see LSU type scores where they're scoring 180 and something points a game. We don't want to see all this and then 50 points.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
not the product that we want to see, which is why the NBA's league doesn't. It's not like anymore, because people want to cheer. They want to celebrate, and we clap not for fouls. We clap for baskets. So like if you out here having a competition where you just only want to focus not on the excitement of the game, but the team with the most points, and you want it to stay in the 50, then you should play at the YMCA, because if we're paying for this product, it needs to rise. It's not as if the WNBA was holding this money and all of a sudden this year when the rookies came in, they gave it. The money wasn't there. So
Right.
you can't be bitter or upset about it coming. They gave it when it came. And so we're tuning in as a fan base, hoping that fast pace of college, because it's college women's basketball. Let's be very honest, that took the leap.
Yes. Agree.
It is the Kim Mulkeys. It is the Don Staleys. They understood what the product needed. They produced high-level kids playing at the same time, putting up traumatic numbers, not trying to hold down and hold it to 40.
Mm-hmm.
They got the recipe. And then what happened? The fans came. They didn't ask for it. They came. And so we were just hoping that that's the transition, to let them play in that point, to see those things, to see that, because that is what brings fans. That's what Steph Curry does. That's what Tatum does. That's what Kyrie does. But they could sit and double him and bully him and not give him any room to score. But who want to see that? Like, we actually want to see finish with the left over yo. We want to see that as a fan. We don't want to see a shot you never got to take that you're working on every single day. You know what I mean? So when it comes to that, I'm like, man, it's just so sad that we're not really talking about what the product is. Like, if you get pushed, no, don't target. But if you get pushed, get knocked down. There are fouls that have happened that are bad. But the spill out of like, let's keep focusing on let them play, because it is a direct. And people say, oh, it's normal. Who got picked up off free throws full court last year every single game?
Right. Nobody.
Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. You have to have a scheme. It's the same thing as the Jordan rules. It is an honor to a good player, but you have to have a scheme. But that's what was missing. And we want to see that aspect, because that's an avenue that hasn't been created in women's basketball. And kudos to her coach for not coming in and being old school. Oh, my coach didn't let me shoot that. You can't shoot that. She said, hey, your accuracy and your efficiency is elite. Go with what works. This is a great product. I'm not going to get in the way with it. And everybody else that's talking and coaching or whatever has to have it in mind. What creates a good product? Let's not get in the way of it. Let's not stop it. Let's not hinder it. Let's push it forward so we could get pushed forward, because they gonna shoot me for this statement, but if we're being bullied at a bus, imagine if you didn't have a charter and you was still flying coach, what they would be doing. So like, get it at me. So like, oh, but we do have charters now. This is why you need to push the product more so that you can create levels of separation. And this is why I think the W is very different from the NBA, because like I was telling my staff, it's like LeBron came out with the same scrutiny, hate, because he did 99 million. He ain't earned it. He ain't no king. Why would Nike give him that money? Pippen didn't make that money in his life.
Right.
A lot of those old school players never did. But what the NBA did was protect the brand so that the game could grow. And it took him 3 years and a change of a team to actually get to where he needed to be as a player. You know what I mean? But like the NBA has marketed and like they have a system to protect that. I think that they'll learn. I think Caitlin's Angels, because it is both of them, that the league might have not been ready for the amount of it that came. They weren't prepared that it would have such a big thing, and they failed both of those kids in things that they should be saying and doing, and everybody's kind of playing off emotion now. So,
last question for you. You obviously basketball. NBA Finals starts tonight. Boston, Dallas. You got a prediction on the series?
If you know me as a person, I love anybody that works and that is willing to give everything to I don't care what they look like. I don't care. Like if you have a skill set that works, I'm a Kyrie fan. I hope, I hope that he really gets, I hope he gets it. Like okay. I hope, and I do think the way they play, even, and people talk a lot about their offense, but for them to be so not physically structured defensively, Jason Kidd, that little zone, I mean, that is magnificent. Like that, I'm literally like, okay, they are moving with a very inexperienced post. And so they're protecting the rim from shots, and so if they can keep that up, I mean that's phenomenal. They get a lot of kudos for their offense, but for who they are when they should be like slower guards, bigger guards, defensively, they're doing a pretty decent job with that zone. So I think they've been coached well. Jason Kidd has found his space and his place, because we've seen it not work in other places. You know what I mean? So like finding that space is important. I think that's great. So hopefully Dallas comes out, and plus, it's like go Texas.
See, I respect everything you just said, but the Houstonian in me, I just cannot and will not pick a Dallas team in anything.
That's fair. We got to unite, though, as a state when it comes to
I just can't, Coach. I'm sorry. I can't.
And you got to stick to what's true to you.
But everything you said about J. Kidd, I do agree with. And I think he is, if it comes down to head coaching, he's more experienced. And that is an advantage for Dallas, for sure.
He has a real deep connection and respect, as I played, and the things that you're telling me, I'm listening to. You're not just trying to talk at me, and that's huge, man. That's huge. So, yeah.
That'll do it, Coach. Thank you very much. It's always my pleasure to chat with you about TSU women's hoops and basketball overall, in general. So, and just let me know when the schedule is out.
Yeah,
and I look forward to that for sure.
All right, yeah, it's gonna be fun though. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like the schedule. I'm gonna like it.
Okay, well, if you're happy, that's all that matters. So, Texas Southern women's basketball coach Vernette Skeete. Thank you again, coach. You take care, and we will keep in touch.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
You too. Bye bye.